When I was a little kid, my favorite Barbie movie was Diamond Castle. I love the music and the costumes and the dolls, of course. I think most of the reason for this, in retrospect, was because it came out during a time when I was really into Barbie. I think I was like 7 or 8 years old when that movie came out. So because of this, I didn't really interact with Princess and the Pauper that much because it came out years before Diamond Castle, before I was ever really into the Barbie scene. I was probably like 3 years old when that movie came out. And I ended up buying that doll, as an adult. It was last year, I was 18. I bought her on eBay and I still can't find Erica because she's so expensive and she's just never for sale. So if you have an Erica doll you want to get rid of, hit me up. So the very misconstrued point I'm trying to make here is that now that I'm older, I understand that Princess and the Pauper is the superior Barbie movie. The story is solid, especially for a kid's movie. The music is really good. It has a musical theater vibe to it that a lot of the other Barbie movies don't have. The merchandising was nice, the costumes, stellar. For the same reason why Return of the Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie, even though now that I'm older and I've rewatched them, Empire Strikes Back is the superior Star Wars movie, is because Return of the Jedi, and by extension, Diamond Castle, has so much nostalgic value to me. As a little kid, that was my favorite movie, so, you know, even now, even though I recognize there are other better movies, I don't care. So, what am I talking about? Adapting Princess and the Pauper to Broadway, right. I think of all the Barbie movies, that one has by far the most potential for a stage musical. I'm sure you can tell by my obvious costuming who my favorite character is from Princess and the Pauper. It's Annalise. I've come to this point in quarantine where I've run out of reasonably productive things to do with my time. So I've spent half the summer recording all the songs from the new Hunger Games novel. Those are all on YouTube. Please like them. Please watch them. I've been out of plans for months now. Yes, I'm in college. Yes, I have an essay due tomorrow, but that's not what we're talking about today, is it? So I decided to pull a Lin-Manuel Miranda and compose, arrange, design costumes for, just everything for Princess and the Pauper Broadway. I'm gonna break this into parts, so it's not just one big monologue about me talking about nothing for an hour, however long this goes. So, it'll be kids' movies being adapted to Broadway, the plot, the music, the costumes, the merchandising, and then at the end, I'm gonna put in songs, because I wrote songs for this. I pulled a full Lin-Manuel Miranda. I wasted a lot of time on this. Part 1. Kids' movies on Broadway. Princess and the Pauper has so much stage potential. I mean, the plot itself is really solid, and I'm not just talking about for a kid's movie. Like, it's very clean and streamlined, and, you know, that works real well for Broadway, because we can just add more things to it, as opposed to taking scenes out and worrying about the runtime. Like, it's good. There's only a few little ticks that I wanted to, like, take out of the movie, but we'll get to that, we'll get to that. Something I noticed about adapting kids' movies or movies intended for children to Broadway is that some of them add amazing new elements onto the story and make it worth paying hundreds of dollars to see live on stage, while others flop and then close within a few months. The things that seem to make a good kids show to Broadway adaptation seem to be making it appeal to all ages. We have to remember that it's the parents who are paying the money to come see our show. It's not the kids. So the parents are dishing out hundreds of dollars to see it on Broadway, so we need to make a show that is just as much for them as it is for their kids. We need a story that is different enough from the source material to merit people seeing it again, but we need lore that isn't so confusing that people who haven't seen the source material don't know what they're watching. I think another good example of this is Heathers. You don't need to see the movie before you see that musical, whereas shows like Mean Girls, you need to see the movie first. That's just my opinion. So, for Princess and the Pauper, we can make our show all of these things by adding new scenes instead of elongating existing ones to elongate our runtime, because we need to stretch the runtime. Let's get into part 2, the plot. First of all, we're cutting the cats. So if you came here to see the cats, if your stake in the cats is that deep, sorry. Serafina will have a cameo. Maybe she'll be like a plushie. She's not gonna be like a person. She's not gonna be like a robot. She's just gonna be like a plushie. We don't really need her. She is a cameo. We'll get to that soon. I noticed that the original movie, for being called Barbie, the Princess and the Pauper, is incredibly unbalanced in terms of Annalise and Erica. Side note, another side note, I thought that Teresa was the Pauper and Barbie was Annalise. Even though it's called Barbie as the princess and the Pauper. I thought it was Barbie as the princess and the Pauper. Okay, so in the original CD, Erica sings 7 out of the 10 songs, while Annalise only sings 3, all of which are with Erica. So, you know, that doesn't sound right to me. I made a point of fleshing out Annalise by adding in more music for her. Annalise is underrated. Everyone likes Erica better. I dressed up as Erica. My girl Annalise, she needs more love. I do acknowledge that Erica's whole shtick is wanting to be a singer. So, I will respect that. I'm leaving it slightly Erica heavy. Erica, especially in Act 2, will have a more dynamic and stylistic range than Annalise, whereas Annalise, we're gonna lean more heavily into her like emotional acting scenes, if that makes sense. Plot. Act 1. On the same day, 2 identical baby girls are born. This is where we're gonna have our opening number. A big group number, think like Into the Woods, the prologue from Into the Woods. Another note, I know in the movie her name is Queen Genevieve. I don't care. Because 2 reasons, mostly 1 reason. Reason number 1, Genevieve is the protagonist in 12 Dancing Princesses. Also, she doesn't look like a Genevieve. And then her name is Diane because Diane is easier to put into songs than rhyme with things. Okay, moving on. Annalise is given everything. She's especially close with her father, the king, while Erica and her family live in the slums. And then we're gonna have a number here where it's like a juxtaposition of their social classes. It's gonna be the king singing a lullaby to Annalise, and then Erica's father singing to Erica. And then a great storm comes one day, causing a landslide that collapses the mines and destroys the slums, so we can have some cool like set stuff going on here. The king is killed while helping the needy, with the only work left being in the mines, you know, digging them out, trying to salvage them. Erica's parents leave her with Madame Carp, knowing they will likely never return. And then we're gonna have a reprise of the lullaby song for Erica. Annalise mourns the death of her father. Time jump! By the way, I don't know if I would cast young actresses to be young Annalise and Erica. We could pull a Hamilton and just dress our 2 adult actresses as kids, like in young looking clothes. I don't know, that's not really important because neither of them, I don't think, sing. It doesn't matter. Okay. 10 years later, Queen Diane is informed by her advisor, Preminger, that the last of the gold mines has been emptied. Oh no. Diane realizes her country is about to go bankrupt, and her council, Preminger is away at this point, like he is in the movie, and Diane's council, they don't like her, and no one really likes Diane because they interpret her dealing with this terrible era she's inherited from her husband in the storm. It wasn't his fault. They interpret that as her being a bad ruler. So they want her to abdicate the throne. So that's when we're gonna have Diane solo, and she's gonna be like, no, I'm the queen. Then Diane's gonna happen upon the idea that she could possibly unite her kingdom with a wealthier one and save the people by marrying her daughter Annalise off to a wealthy nobleman. Annalise is horrified and she initially protests, but she subsequently determines that it's the right thing to do and it's her duty to her kingdom, so she agrees to court eligible suitors. And that's where we're gonna have Annalise's solo. Erica, we're gonna meet Erica, adult Erica now an indentured servant for Madame Carp, gets into a heated argument with Carp about her treatment of the other seamstresses, and Carp is gonna lock Erica in her workshop overnight. So now Annalise and Erica are both sad, and they're gonna sing Free. At the castle, Preminger and his lackeys reveal that there was a mine that hasn't collapsed in the storm and has gone undiscovered. So he conspires to extort its riches and blackmail Annalise into marrying him in order to make him the king. And he also is gonna like try to kill Diane. And that's Preminger's song, How Can I Refuse, from the movie. Still locked in the workshop, the other seamstresses help Erica escape through the window, and they go out on an adventure, and we could have like a song there, like a Someone in the Crowd from La La Land type of song. Annalise's tutor, Jillian, notices Annalise's sadness and sneaks her into town too, where she's gonna meet Erica, a girl like you. Drop the curtain, end of Act 1. Now it's Act 2. And Act 2 is where everything gets sad, so let's remove the flower crown. Oh, my hair's all flat. I look like a businesswoman, like I'm here for an audition. Hi. You know, when I was a little kid, I used to get my hair like this and tie it and pretend it was a beard and pretend to be Abraham Lincoln. I didn't have friends. King Dominic, who agreed to marry Annalise, writes to the castle requesting to push the wedding back a week due to another storm brewing at sea. And everyone here is afraid of storms because that's what caused the problem in the beginning. Diane panics because she realizes that with no more money left in the treasury, they're all gonna go belly up. Preminger, however, is very excited about this, and he sets his plan into place, which will be How Can I Refuse Reprise 1. Annalise overhears Preminger's plot and confronts him. Preminger and his men overpower her and cart her off to the mines. Preminger, like he does in the movie, forges a letter to the queen or whoever will see the letter saying that Annalise ran away to escape her marriage with King Dominic. But Julian finds Annalise's cat, Serafina, unattended and realizes that something went awry. He asks Erica to impersonate the princess so that the marriage can go forward while he investigates Annalise's disappearance. And that will be To Be a Princess. Annalise escapes the mines, and she escapes to the slums, only to be mistaken as Erica by Madame Carp, and she's locked in the workshop. When the other seamstresses arrive, they quickly realize that this isn't Erica. The seamstresses help Annalise out of Madame Carp's workshop, just as Julian arrives in town, reuniting with Annalise, but Preminger and his men finally catch up to them, and they imprison them both. Meanwhile, at the palace, Erica, disguised as the princess, spends a day with Queen Diane. Diane is shocked that Annalise is now agreeing with everything that she says. Little does she know that Erica, disguised as Annalise, is simply pulling an Evan Hansen and trying to just manipulate her into letting the plan go smoothly. And this is where I'm going to put the cat's meow. We have to repurpose the cat's meow because Wolfie is not in this. And I recorded cat's meow. It's at the end of the video with all the other songs. So, you know, listen to it. And you can decide if it's a good fit. Okay. So I thought it would be a nice bonding moment because we're fleshing out Diane in this, the queen. We love her. Erica, disguised as Annalise, presents herself to King Dominic, and the two begin to fall in love. If You Love Me for Me is here. Preminger arrives and denounces Erica as a fake and has her imprisoned. Maybe we can have like a wig snatch moment, like a literal wig snatch. Both incarcerated, Annalise and Erica reflect on everything that's gone wrong. Free reprise. Preminger convinces Diane that Annalise is dead and that she must marry him in order to restore the kingdom's wealth. How Can I Refuse Reprise 2, which is in the movie. Preminger's men load up the last of the gold and seal Annalise and Julian up in the mine and abandon them, even though they've been left for dead, and Annalise is beginning to really just give up. Julian convinces her to keep fighting, and this is where their duet is. Julian and Annalise escape from the mines and intercept Preminger and Diane's wedding. Preminger is arrested, Erica is released from prison and goes on to marry King Dominic. Annalise marries Julian, and then we have our finale, Written in Your Heart. I am not opposed to changing the ending. This is just the movie ending. We can change it. I do like Written in Your Heart as a finale though, but I mean if something else came along that was better, so be it. I put this back on because we're happy again, right? That's some subtle costume changing for you, right? Part 4, the music. So you're probably wondering why I decided to repurpose the cat's meow. Well, the reason for this is because it doesn't have anything to do with the plot. It's a good song, which is why I would repurpose it instead of writing Erica a new song, especially because we're not using the cat's meow already. I'm looking at you, Anastasia, taking out In the Dark of the Night, which is the best song, and not using it at all, just throwing it away? That was the best song. So I tweaked the lyrics to fit the new setting. You know, maybe the queen is sitting around and she's feeling sad and overwhelmed by all the problems at court, and maybe now she wants to spare Annalise from the marriage, but Erica's job is solely to keep the engagement going, so she's gonna pull a For Forever and comfort the queen in order to comfort her. And with so many songs, I actually did write and record some of them. And instead of making you listen to them interspersed with my plot breakdown, they're all at the end of this video. I literally recorded them sitting on the bathroom floor using voice memos and Apple Loops, so please don't roast me too hard. I actually do think they sum up the characters in the sense of the music that I was hoping for decently well. I wanted the show to have a slightly Les Mis inspired vibe to it, especially with the poorer class of people, so the pauper side of the story. So, you know, Erica, I wanted her to kind of be like a Cosette Eponine hybrid. Madame Carp to be kind of like Madame Thénardier. I kind of want her to have a song, or at least a part of a song, like an ensemble kind of part, like a Master of the House kind of vibe. Hamilton taught me the importance of using musical motifs with individual characters. So because of this, I want this to carry over into Princess and the Pauper. So the queen will be kind of like the harpsichord and brass, and that's how you know she's gonna sing. Annalise is acoustic guitar, Erica is the piano and the harp, and Preminger, maybe he's like the oboe or something. There's not really much else to say about this. The music is at the end of the video. Oh yeah, also, balancing things out. When you look at the list of the songs, you can see Annalise will sing 7, she'll sing in 7 songs, and Erica will sing in 9. So we're still skewed in Erica's favor. You're welcome, Erica fans. Part 5. Part 5. The costumes. I love costumes. Here's where we get to look back at the other kids' movie adaptations. Some of the shows with costumes that were generally well received are, of course, Lion King, Little Mermaid, Anastasia, and SpongeBob. Maybe not Little Mermaid, but SpongeBob. Anastasia and Lion King really just used the movie as a springboard in order to inspire things that were completely different, which, respect. I love that gold Grand Duchess dress, but okay. SpongeBob cleverly made the costumes look like real outfits as opposed to costumes, and Mr. Krabs with boxing gloves is so iconic that I couldn't not mention it in this video. Shows like Frozen seemed like they were too afraid to change the iconic costumes from the movie, and it just felt like a higher budget version of the Hyperion show, which you can see for free if you go to Disneyland. So I wanted to do a little bit of a hybrid between the Frozen faithfulness to the original and Anastasia, which really said the original I don't know her. My favorite thing about Hamilton and Heather's costumes is that they are color-coded for their female characters, especially. So that's what I'm gonna do, hopefully, for our 2 female leads in Princess and the Pauper. Maybe even for everyone else. Annalise will always be wearing some shade of pink, and Erica will always be wearing some shade of blue. Something that I think is very clever in the original movie is that when Erica puts on the blonde wig to be Princess Annalise, she's still wearing a periwinkle blue dress. Brilliant. So I spiced them up. Yes, I did costume designs too. Let's start with Annalise. Her first dress as an adult will be a very stereotypically princess dress. I want audiences to see her wearing it and be like, she's not wearing that dress the whole show, is she? It's gonna be like a whitish baby pink with bows. Think like Cinderella in her pink dress from the animated movie. It'll look like this. She won't be wearing it for very long, but the symbolic purpose of the dress will look immature and prissy and stereotypical. And the first time we see this dress will be underneath her black mourning cloak when her father dies. But afterwards she'll be wearing it through the middle of her solo and midway through Act 1. Her next dress will be a quick change dress that she'll wear through the end of Act 1. The point of this dress is so that we get to see her sing her big number, A Girl Like You, with Erica in that iconic pink movie dress, that dress. It'll look something like this. Back to the quick change though, it's not gonna be a let it go quick change where they like rip her other dress off and it's a new dress underneath. There's gonna be a dialogue break in between one of the verses in which the Queen, Preminger, and Julian are gonna be discussing Annalise's prospects with courting different suitors. When King Dominic finally agrees to meet her, she's going to present herself to him, which by the way, it's not actually gonna be King Dominic, it's gonna be one of his like guys, his like workers, because King Dominic is still like stuck on his boat or whatever. We don't meet King Dominic for real until Act 2. So she's gonna appear back on stage wearing this dress for the final verse where she presents herself. So hopefully she's gonna have like 30 seconds-ish to like change real fast. For free, she won't be in the wedding dress like in the movie. That was something I didn't like. I didn't like that we didn't get to see her sing in the pink dress. So the ensemble will be around her like testing swatches of fabric, maybe taking measurements. Her third dress will be in Act 2. It'll be another pink dress, but this dress will be more reminiscent of a robe style dress, and the purpose of this is that she'll wear it until she's abducted by Preminger, and then when we see Annalise again, when she's in the mines with Julian, she'll have taken off the robe layer, so it's just the underdress. It'll be like just a plain, very light pink, maybe like almost a white, but still pink, like smock dress. And this will be the dress that she has with her duet with Julian. So we can see all the charcoal smudge stains all over the dress to see that she's like messy now. Finally, her wedding dress will be like that rose gold color that we see in the movies. It'll look something like this. Okay, next, Erica. Erica has slightly less costumes than Annalise because she's the Pauper. I love the Pauper dress she has in the movie, but it looks less like a Pauper and more like a princess, and so it pains me, but I have to make some adjustments. She's gonna have the same 18th century-esque German silhouette, but we're gonna pull a Mariah Reynolds here and differentiate her from the upper class by removing some of the petticoat layers. She will, however, get a cloak for a girl like you. For Act 2, she's gonna have a quick change. Yay! Hers will be more difficult than Annalise's to conduct. I want her to change on stage. But I don't want it to be like in Cinderella where she has the princess dress magically under the Pauper dress. That doesn't make sense. I like the idea where she goes into the closet and then magically comes out wearing a new princess dress. Maybe it makes more sense for at the top of the act when it's to be a princess, it's Julian's actor and then an ensemble member who looks like Erica, maybe her understudy, dressed in the Pauper outfit, and because she doesn't have any lines until she starts singing at the end of the song with Julian, she's kind of standing in for Erica, and then the Erica actress is waiting behind the changing wall. When it's time for the change, the ensemble member walks behind the wall, and then Erica like walks out on the other side in the princess dress. I hope that makes sense. I wanted to give Erica a second princess dress for the second half of Act 2, but it's kind of unnecessary, and I just wanted her to have another dress. For budget reasons, I guess we won't. I wanted her to wear the different dress for her duet with Dominic. For the wedding scene, she's gonna have a very light powdery blue wedding dress with navy accents like in the movie. White wedding dresses weren't a thing until Queen Victoria in the 1800s, and since this is supposed to take place before that, the white wouldn't make sense. I'm gonna try to subvert this historical inaccuracy by making the dresses slightly off-white. Slick. The end tally is Annalise with 7 dresses, Erica with 4 dresses. Sad characters. For the boys, I'm pretty okay with Julian wearing the same outfit the whole show, except maybe the end he can have a different shirt, a different like blazer. Same thing for Dominic. I feel like when Dominic meets Erica for their duet, he's not really dressed up as the king, so maybe he can just be like wearing the base layer of his costume, and then in the end he can put on like his nice coat and his like crown. I was gonna say his hat. The queen, again, we don't really need her to change outfits because her wedding to Preminger is impromptu, so there's no reason for her to have a wedding dress. I would like to give her a different dress between Acts 1 and 2 just to spice things up, but for budget reasons I assume we should just keep her in one outfit. For Preminger, I actually do want him to have 2 outfits. He can start the show with that royal purple outfit. I like that for him. I love that for him. And then change him into like a black velvet suit for the end at the wedding, which he is actually planning for, and then maybe he can just wear that until the end. I don't know where I'm going with this. Part 6, merchandising and marketing. First of all, I'm literally a first-year college student. My business opinions probably reflect this. When you create a show around a toy line, it's important to never create something in your show that you can't make into a toy. The big hole, in my opinion, in Disney's stage shows is that their merchandising is not what it could be. They do sell hats and cups and things like that. They also sell dolls. However, these dolls are sold at collector prices, and in my opinion, they are not collector quality. I think Mattel, especially Mattel, could absolutely go ham on the dolls for Princess and the Pauper Broadway. Imagine the dolls that they could sell for this show. Actually, you don't have to imagine it because I'm gonna tell you my ideas. We will be selling 2 types of dolls at this show: collector dolls and playline dolls. For the collector dolls, we will have 12-inch non-singing versions of Annalise and Erica. Maybe if the show does well, we can add in some side characters. But Annalise and Erica will both be wearing their princess outfits from the show and will be very detailed. The dolls won't be singing because I anticipate the collectors will not want to remove the dolls from their boxes. Also, I want Erica in the princess dress because something I noticed with Disney's collector dolls is when they put a character in their main outfit that's more of an athletic outfit. A good example of this is their recent Mulan live-action doll in her war gear. It didn't sell as well, and I think the reason for that is because, and what I heard people complaining about on like the doll forums, is that she has a more detailed, beautiful dress, and even though that doesn't represent her character as well, for a collector who wants the nicest quality product, that is what we should go with. So that's what I would do with Erica. Oh, also the dolls aren't gonna sing because the box thing, and also because once they run out of batteries on the Try Me thing, you'd have to take it out of the box to give it new batteries, so it's just not worth it. The second line of dolls will be playline dolls. We'll be selling 4: Annalise, Erica, Julian, and Dominic. These dolls will most closely resemble the 2000s era playline dolls because I'm not a fan of Barbie's new direction in terms of doll quality. Their hair, the new doll's hair mats quickly as opposed to the old dolls whose hair you can brush and brush and it'll never mat. Similarly, not that children do this or should do this, for whatever reason you can flat iron or curl with a curling iron old Barbie hair and it works. It's heat resistant, but the new doll's hair, it melts off. So I don't know what point I'm trying to make with that, but I'm just letting you know that's a thing. I have a sister who is currently in the target demographic for Barbie dolls, and she always chooses the old 2000s era Barbie dolls as opposed to the new Barbie dolls who are not articulated and whose clothes are painted on. So I think it goes to show that kids prefer the articulated, more intricately detailed playline dolls. They know the difference. Kids know the difference. Annalise and Erica will be singing 2 songs from the Broadway show each. They'll sing A Girl Like You together. But what about the second song, and what about the guys? Okay, here's the tea. Back in the day, they only sold a Dominic doll, and then they sold Julian's clothes separately. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna sell Julian and we're gonna sell Dominic. We'll each sing 1 song, and I know the Ken dolls have a bad rep for not selling as well as Barbie, but I'm gonna make you buy them, and here's how. Their song with Annalise and Erica will be their song and Annalise and Erica's second songs, respectively. So unless you buy Julian, you're not gonna have the full duet with Annalise, so you should probably buy them both. The live action dolls don't sell as well, and I think it's because when you put a realistic factory painted face onto a cartoon body, it looks a little bit jarring. So something that Barbie does now, which I think is really cool, is they Barbie-ize the faces, even when it's a live action character. So a good example of this is like Katniss. They made it look like Jennifer Lawrence, but it's also like Barbie as Jennifer Lawrence as Katniss. Barbie is Katniss. Another thing Disney missed the mark on at their Broadway shows, and what I was really shocked that they don't do, is they don't sell dresses. At the Disney parks, you can buy a dress for a character that's different from the dress that you would buy for that same character at the Disney store. This is the Ariel dress you can buy at the Disney store. This is the Ariel dress you can buy at the parks. It's her human dress, and it's the one she wears at the parks. Another thing that Disney does is at the store, they have different levels of like quality dresses you can buy. So they have, this is a parks dress, but this is standard Elsa, just a nice regular Elsa. And then they do this, they sell a deluxe Elsa. This is from the Disney store, and it has much more detailing on it. It has this beaded bodice. It's a really nice quality dress. Because Disney does these various qualities of costumes, the best example of which is at the Bippity Boppity Boutique at the Disney parks, where kids can choose from different, or I guess their parents, can choose from different styles of dresses and price points that range from $60 all the way up to $300. At Princess and the Pauper Broadway, we will be selling dresses. It will be inspired by the Broadway show and will reflect the quality of a Disney Store deluxe edition dress, so our price will be at about $100. Yes, that's expensive, but it's a special dress and you can only buy it here at the show. I don't know why I'm talking like I'm a marketer for a show that actually exists. I made all this up. The merch can go on and on from there. We can sell all the usual things. We can sell shirts and mugs and things like that, and Mattel can reboot all the old merch from when the movie came out, like a Serafina plushie and maybe the doll playset houses. But what's important to me is the dolls and the quality of the dolls and making sure they're articulated and nice and nice quality. We like nice quality. And that's it. If you stayed around this long, thank you. If you're interested in hearing the demos, you're in the right place. Just stick around. They're at the end. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe and have a nice day. Oh yeah, also, if this show gets made, I have one condition. I want to be Annalise or Erica. You can't do the show without me.
Oh, Your Highness, we weren't talking about you.
Just stop.
Oh, but now that we're on the topic, though, maybe we should discuss the possibility of stepping away from the throne. The people are quite unhappy, and you aren't the ruler that Leonard was. I've been the queen in our darkest hour and our longest nights. I've been right here since it all went wrong. I've always made it right. I've been the stepping stone of progress. I've been virgin and white. They won't listen without my husband. Don't care what I try. Have you ever been the captain as your boat goes down and the people can't swim but don't believe they'll drown? There isn't anyone, 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 anyone. at the altar. Seems to me the queen's not so smart after all. And her long list of disapprovers do the heavy lifting for me. It'll be no time till she's laying in her tomb. And that leaves us with the princess. Oh, that spoiled little hellion. What had hit her she'll have never even knew. Like a cat drawn to the light, I'll have her underneath my thumb. It's all too easy. How can I refuse? Oh, I should shout it from the rooftops. Throw the queen out to the dogs. Let the pitchfork masses do what they will do. But I'm not much of a fighter, and what's more waiting to be right? It's all in motion, no, so how can I refuse? How can I refuse? Change of plans. Darling, maybe I should just call off the wedding between you and King Dominic. I knew I shouldn't have dragged you into this mess. No, I think you're doing the best you can with what you've got. That's the best any of us can do. I can see it when you're feeling low, you can't hide that from me. You're so overworked, can't see your worth. Take a moment just to breathe. I see more